It was during the time of Passover, when Jerusalem was filled with pilgrims from all corners of Judea and beyond, that Jesus entered the temple courtyard. The air was thick with the sounds of commerce, merchants shouting prices, the clinking of coins, and the bleating of sheep and cattle. What was meant to be a sacred space, a house of prayer for all nations, had been transformed into a bustling marketplace. Money changers sat at their tables, exchanging Roman coins for temple currency, while vendors sold animals for sacrifice at inflated prices, exploiting the poor and the devout who had come to worship. The noise and chaos were overwhelming, and the sanctity of the temple had been buried under greed and corruption. Jesus, filled with righteous anger, surveyed the scene with a heavy heart. He knew the scriptures well. "My house shall be called a house of prayer." But what he saw was a den of robbers. Without hesitation, he fashioned a whip out of cords and stepped forward, his presence commanding attention. With a voice that echoed through the courtyard, he declared, "Take these things away. Do not make my Father's house a house of trade." In a dramatic act of defiance, he overturned the tables of the money changers, sending coins scattering across the ground. The doves, meant for sacrifice, were set free as their cages toppled, their wings fluttering in the air as they escaped. The merchants and traders, stunned and fearful, scrambled to gather their belongings, while the temple guards hesitated, unsure whether to intervene. The disciples watched in awe, witnessing a side of Jesus they had never seen before, a fiery zeal for the holiness of God's house. The pilgrims too were divided. Some murmured in approval, recognizing the truth in his actions, while others questioned his authority, asking, "Who does he think he is?" The children, drawn by the commotion, began to sing and shout, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." Their innocent praises filled the air, a stark contrast to the greed and corruption that had just been uprooted. The Pharisees, however, were furious. They approached Jesus, their faces tight with indignation, and demanded, "Do you hear what these children are saying? Silence them!" But Jesus, calm and unwavering, replied, "Have you never read, 'Out of the mouths of infants and nursing babies, you have prepared praise'?" His words silenced them, leaving them seething with anger and plotting how they might destroy him. Yet despite the tension, Jesus remained in the temple, teaching and healing those who came to him, the blind, the lame, and the brokenhearted. The people listened intently, captivated by his words and the authority with which he spoke. The temple, for a moment, became what it was always meant to be, a place of worship, healing, and hope. But the religious leaders could not see this. All they saw was a threat to their power and control. As the sun set over Jerusalem, the temple courtyard grew quiet, the echoes of Jesus' teachings lingering in the air. The events of that day would not be forgotten. Jesus had made it clear that the kingdom of God was not about profit or power, but about purity, humility, and love. His actions were a prophetic sign, a call to return to the heart of worship and to reject the corruption that had taken root in God's house. Yet even as the people marveled at his boldness, the shadow of the cross loomed closer. The cleansing of the temple was not just an act of reform, it was a declaration of Jesus' authority as the Son of God, and it set in motion the events that would lead to his crucifixion. In that moment, however, the temple was a place of light and hope, a glimpse of the kingdom Jesus had come to establish, a kingdom where the last would be first, the humble would be exalted, and the house of God would truly be a house of prayer for all people. And as the crowds dispersed, many left with hearts stirred, wondering if this man, who spoke with such authority and acted with such courage, could indeed be the Messiah they had been waiting for. Yet for others, the seeds of doubt and fear had been sown, and the divide between those who believed and those who opposed him grew deeper, setting the stage for the ultimate confrontation between light and darkness.